I work here for 10 years. Last time before I know Aida, I don't have saving at all. I was not planned to start any businesses, but then joining Aida first year gave me a hope to start. Oh, why not, Nilu? You can do something.
Aida really helped me gain and boost my self-confidence. The moment I stand up and in front of people, I will be very scared and I feel very nervous. The first time I speak, I really shiver, but the few days, the next classes that I attended, slowly my self-confidence started to develop.
Before even me, I'm not vocal at all. But when I start Aida, you cannot stop me talking. No, really serious.
Because of Aida, I know how to save, I know how to manage my money. I start already also my business.
Like we always do something to make each and every session fun and looking forward to it. What kind of lunches we're going to take, are we going to take potluck or are we going somewhere after the class, to have a lunch together.
So I was become their sister. Every time they have the problem, every time they have the homeworks, and they always confide with me what to do and how to do. So that makes me happy.
Welcome, Jackie. Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Well, so good to see you this evening. Thanks so much for carving time out to speak with us tonight. You're speaking before a full house, by the way. Just want to get started, and if you can, Jackie, give us the current situation in Singapore. The women featured in the video just now are very inspiring. Can you tell us about the situation? Where are they from? And we'll go from there.
Sure. So migrant domestic workers in Singapore are mainly from Indonesia, the Philippines, and Myanmar. And basically, they're women typically from low-income communities in their home countries. And they leave their families to come work in Singapore to really create a better future for their families. And it's a tremendous sacrifice. And many of them are mothers with young children. And when they come to Singapore, typically a contract is 2 years long. And in that, and they only go home typically once every 2 years. And it's not an easy job. They work on average at least 6 days a week, and the average working hours are 13 hours a day. And for this hard work in a country as wealthy as Singapore, where in Singapore the GDP per capita is the equal of any developed country in the world, but these women earn the equivalent of $500 a month for beyond full-time work. Essentially. But it is a rational economic choice for them. They earn in Singapore 3 to 5 times what they otherwise would at home. So actually smart financial decisions at this point in their lives can actually really change the trajectory of their lives. But the sad reality is research has shown that actually only 6% have saved enough by the time they return home, and 60% only return with material goods and typically no savings at all. Mm-hmm. So Aida exists, of course, to change all this.
Definitely. And let's talk about numbers for a moment. There are about roughly 250,000 migrant domestic workers. So this is not a small population.
Yes, it's a very large population. They're really part of the fabric of life in Singapore. 1 in 5 households employs a domestic worker. And actually, domestic workers comprise 10% of Singapore's total labor force.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that amazing overview. And can you elaborate a little bit about the training they receive? In my opening remarks, I mentioned, it's access to financial education, literacy, communication skills. Can you talk about the modules that the participants go through?
Sure. Aida has a sort of very in-depth set of modules, and we also have a holistic approach to financial education. So essentially, we have 3 modules that lead people from basic savings and budgeting through to smart financial decision making in the second module, and it ends with entrepreneurship. So to complete our second module, people create a personal financial plan. And to complete the third module, they create a business plan. Within the modules, we teach both money management skills as well as communication and confidence skills. And in module 1, we also include IT skills, because we really feel in this day and age, without access to the information available on the internet, you really can't be financially included. So we consider that a key building block.
Mm-hmm. Now, you know, personal finance, budgeting, adhering to a budget, I have my challenges there, saving money, you know, all of this we must shift our behavior. So when you talk about 6% of the participants returning home with a financial base, how difficult is it for them to adhere to budgets when they're so laser focused on providing for their family and sending money back home?
Yeah, it's really difficult. And actually what we try to do at Aidha is really encourage them to think of the big picture. I mean, long-term, they're here for their family, but they also have to make the decision to put aside money for long-term savings instead of always, remitting 80 to 90% of their income for household consumption. So one of the big lessons, and in module 1, what we do is we ask them to set a savings goal every month. And actually part of the class is reporting back on that monthly savings goal. And it's interesting that actually many of them don't think of having a monthly goal. And they also don't kind of string things together, that actually if they have a longer term goal, what does that equate to in terms of the monthly decisions they need to make? So actually just that habit of having a goal, and every month they also report back on whether or not they achieve that goal. And a lot of times they get advice from their fellow classmates, advice and encouragement around those goals. Mm-hmm. So inculcating, I think, the idea of the goal and the importance of setting aside at least something makes a big difference for them.
It really does. And since Aidha's founded in 2006, more than 5,000 women have gone through this program. Can you talk a little bit more about the multiplier effect to this program?
Sure. So our research has shown a multiplier effect of 9x, actually. So for every student at Aidha, 9 people are impacted. And that is based on the average number of dependents they have, the average number of businesses they start, and also the average number of employees of those businesses and their dependents. At Aidha, we carefully track impact data. So we survey our students as they first sign up and as they complete each of our modules. And after module 1, they are able to increase their average monthly savings by 40%. By the time they are alumni of our entrepreneurship course, that increases to close to 80%. And also we track the ownership of productive assets, and that doubles as they become alumni of the entrepreneurship course. And also business ownership increases from 6% to over 40%. By the time they are alumni. And these businesses are businesses, they start in their home countries, often with family members. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about obstacles and opportunities from COVID. You know, many organizations had to make the pivot during the pandemic. How did COVID impact your enrollment?
Oh, it had a dramatic effect, to say the least. So what we did when we were teaching all our classes in person, we had a 18-room campus on Sundays, which is the typical day off for domestic workers. And we had at any given time 500 students enrolled. And when COVID hit, all that ceased. And in fact, we are still not back at our main campus yet. So in 2020, over the course of 6 months, we adapted all our curriculum. We're able to offer almost all our courses online. The only one we had to wait until we had a physical facility to offer it was actually the computer class. But we were wonderfully surprised, pleasantly surprised about how well our students managed to adapt to learning over Zoom, and as well as our trainers. All our trainers are volunteers, and we spent some time training them to teach online, but it was really a smooth transition. So, you know, the silver lining of COVID is, I feel, you know, we have a new way that we can reach students. And I think there's still a strong preference for in-person classes, because I think for our community in particular, you know, making friends, having peer support is something that is really important to them. And that is much easier in person. But there are some people who find it difficult to come to our campus. So we foresee offering, you know, both online and in-person options. And we're very hopeful that we will have a new campus in the coming months. But I guess, you know, COVID forced us to learn things, as it forced many other organizations to do. But now, you know, we have a new tool in our arsenal and a new way to reach people. And yes, we hope to continue online as there is demand. And I think we envision a hybrid model as well, where it'll be partly online and partly in person.
Got it. Let's talk a little bit about social media. During our prep call, you mentioned that there is a low awareness rate of Aidha amongst the more than 250,000 migrant domestic workers. What do you attribute to that? And how is TikTok and Instagram playing a role in turning that around?
Yes, you know, it's been a long challenge for Aidha, that we feel our, you know, level of awareness amongst domestic workers is, or, you know, maybe 10% or less. And we've done a lot to try and change that. We have a lot of, pre-COVID, we had a lot of in-person events, and we had a pretty active Facebook page, but it doesn't seem to be enough. And, you know, we recently did a sort of strategic exercise to figure out how we can reach more people. And we felt that we could take more advantage of indeed TikTok and Instagram. So we have embarked on you know, we've invested significant resources in an online engagement initiative. So since May, we've created close to 40 TikTok videos, cross-posted them on Instagram, and thanks to that have about, you know, on TikTok, close to 30,000 views, and Instagram is actually, I think, twice that. In addition, we have created an online financial education resource center that we started building in July, and we will gradually add more and more content. And both of these are part of an effort to increase awareness, but also provide a variety of on-ramps to the training resources that Aidha can provide, because our long courses, which I spoke about in terms of the modules, those are 6 months long. That's a big commitment. We also have developed since 2019 a short course program that is free single session courses on important financial decisions and important life skills. So we hope that that is one on-ramp. People can, for free, try out a class, get some understanding of you know, the value of financial education. And similarly with our online engagement initiatives, we want to give bite-sized learning, and hopefully people can kind of cycle through an ecosystem of support that Aidha is trying to provide. And really, we are, you know, I think we feel confident we have a good model. I mean, I hope you can sort of see it in how our students speak about what they learned from Aidha. And, you know, we see it reflected in our impact data. And we really just want to spread the word. We also have a real partnership approach, and we're trying to be a resource for all other NGOs working with migrant domestic workers. And we also work in partnership with the Ministry of Manpower. So we're trying all avenues to bring our resources to as many people as possible.
Well, final question. We're speaking before an esteemed audience, a group of business leaders, decision makers in the room tonight. What is your call to action for them when it comes to financial inclusion?
You know, I think there are many roads relates to financial inclusion, many different types of interventions that we can make. And I think you'll be talking, I'm sure, about various ecosystem changes and what sorts of new products and services can be developed. And I think these are very important. And in fact, one of the things that Aidha would love to assist with this. And one of the things in Singapore that we would, is one of our goals to work on in the year ahead, hopefully, is possibly the development of a new financial product in collaboration with others, of course, around some sort of long-term savings product that bears a decent amount of interest, a kind of savings product or life insurance product. So, we're very interested in that, and these things are very important and can make a big difference. But I guess my call to action is, yes, please keep working on those, but also don't forget the capability building that is needed, because even if you have wonderful tools and resources available, people need to have kind of the skills and confidence to access those as well. So I would say, look around your communities and see what organizations are also providing capability building support, which I think is also critically needed. So that's one call to action. Don't forget the capability building part. And the other call to action actually is kind of a request from Aidha. I mean, we're trying to be a learning organization, and we would love to learn from good examples around the world. So if you think you are, if you observe something that would be of interest to Aidha, please get in touch and let us know. We would love to see what great practice there is elsewhere that we could adopt and bring to our community as well.